Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. Well, what can I say? What a difference a day makes. For those of you who follow my webinars or these recordings, video recordings regularly, will know I did a video yesterday specifically on how the day before, which was Tuesday the 17th, was a hard day. If I scroll back a bit, we had a very hard day on Tuesday because the market was very quiet, and I talked about the cyclical nature of trading in how that markets go through cycles where you have good periods, lots of profits, harder periods when you have small losses. The trick is keeping the losses small, obviously, and then you have periods when the markets are quiet. And normally the quiet periods, like we had on Tuesday, was when most amateur traders fall down because they get frustrated. They look at a chart and say, "Oh, not many setups," get frustrated, throw the towel in, and go and look at something else. However, that is the worst thing you can do, because most professional traders know that the cycle then comes around fairly quickly, and after a quiet period, we then have a good period of trade. And boy, yesterday was brilliant. So this was for Wednesday, April the 18th. This is the NinjaTrader RT add-ons. If I scroll forward here and look at yesterday, this was a lovely TS3 sell setup we were looking at in our trading room yesterday. The TS3 sell came in here, so we put our analysis on, right mouse click on the bar, click analysis, and you can see it gave our automatic position sizing here to keep our risk small under control. And as we were talking about, we were saying, is this trade going to go down to the first target? This was a perfect standard and automatic MTPredictor trade setup, TS3 sell on a black STF, so no real question at all. Trend was flat, TS3 sell fine. So if we scroll forward, just look what happened. The market sort of went up and down a bit. However, the market went down here and actually reached our first target. We then go down to our STF and see whether it's what we call strong or weak. In this circumstance it was weak because it was less than our strength band. Therefore we come out at this target and we take our profits. And look at this, here you were short from this high here down to take profits at this low here, but the beautiful thing about this was the profit. In other words, it was approximately 7.8 R, or 7.8 times the initial risk. In other words, this turned initial risk of approximately $400 into a profit of just over $3,100. An absolutely fantastic trade. And again, all because of this standard and automatic trade setup here. If I scroll for the rest of the day, the market rallied off this low here, went up to make a high before declining into the close. One thing I want to show here now is for the advanced traders among you, is that we always look at the last swing into any high or low, which is this swing here. We come back to the prior pivot and we put our decision point on, and normally this is the area where a market will make a pivot. And as you can see, that nailed that high absolutely perfectly. If we now come down and look at the VSA, this is our VSA indicator down here, we can see we had a red VSA bar here. That means this bar here was indicated as a potential one of our VSA sell setups. Here it actually went over the prior pivot. Market then reversed back down straight away at our DP level. This indicates that this high volume here was not buying, it was actually selling. Therefore we should look for another short trade. Our target would be the DP from the prior low, and as we can see, that caught the decline into the close. Putting our risk reward on this as well would have been around that red sell bar there, down into the close, and that would have been another profitable trade for the advanced MTPredictor traders among you for another 4.3 R. Now remember, we're adding this 4.3 R profit, or another $1,700 profit, onto the 7.8 R profit hit earlier. So, an absolutely fantastic day. But for the advanced traders among you, this was not the best setup. The better setup was actually on the NQ. And what I'll do is I'll just skip over to MTPredictor 7 here. This is the beta version of MTPredictor 7 to show you why the NQ was a better trade. Well, first and foremost, if we actually look at the setup here on the YM, we can see that the potential trade at the first target was 4.3R, but if we go to the NQ, here's the analysis I did earlier, Just drag that back up to the first target. Exactly the same analysis. This was the last swing down into this low. Therefore we come back to that pivot to put our DP on. That nailed the high beautifully. I'll just put the volume on here so you can see that yes, we had our VSA indicator there. This caught the high. At the first target, this was actually a better risk reward than the one in the YM. So it was actually 6.8R as opposed to 4.3. But also what I liked about the NQ was if I go to the 15-minute chart, you can see here's my analysis I did earlier, is that this high here was also a DP on the 15 minutes. So in other words, this was actually a larger degree resistance area. On the YM, we didn't have that same kind of, if I scroll in a bit, at this high here, we didn't have that same kind of 15-minute resistance. So on the NQ, you combine the 15-minute resistance together with the better risk reward at the first target, and therefore the NQ was a better trade to take. So if I now go back and do the same analysis here on the NQ, there's our decision point. I'll just extend that out with a nice little rectangle here, and as you can see, that caught our high. Our target was our decision point down here. When the market got down to this level, our STF was strong, therefore you'd carry on holding the short trade into the close. If I put the profit on here on the risk reward at the close there, you can see it was actually 9.3R. So this trade here, again using our correct position sizing, kept the initial risk small and turned an initial risk of approximately $390 into a profit of this time just over $3,600. So yesterday was an absolutely fantastic day for MTPredictor users. In particular, if I go back to 6.5, in particular how we had, I'll put that analysis on there back again, particularly how, whoops, missed. There we go, particularly how we had this standard and automatic trade setup sell here, which actually got you short from the very high of the day into our first target, standard MTPredictor trade setup for a lovely 7.8R. Then we had another sell to take account of the decline down into the close, and actually the better trade setup, as we've seen, was actually on the NQ because of the reasons I've already talked about, and that would have put another plus 9R profit in the bank. So if you combine plus 9R together with the plus 7R, that means it was an absolutely fantastic day yesterday. Plus, so was it 7 plus 9, my maths is correct, is plus 16R. Now that means it was an absolutely brilliant day yesterday. But the beautiful thing was because it came on, or came off the back of a harder day the day before. So it was a perfect example of the cyclical nature of trading, and as such why you should have been ready to make the best use of the MTPredictor trade ups yesterday, because you were looking for a good day. But anyway, in hindsight here, or looking back on the day, we would have had a brilliant standard trade setup here and an absolutely brilliant advanced VSA setup here, making a very, very, very good day for MTPredictor users yesterday.